Hi guys, it's Ken with this week's news refresh. By now, we've all been hit by a barrage of news blurbs about how VW has been defrauding the EPA and emissions regulations in one of the biggest shitstorms in automotive history. But what exactly happened and what's the fallout for VW? Well, let's find out. In 2014, the EPA and CARB were presented with a report from the International Council on Clean Transportation and West Virginia University that showed diesel exhausts were pumping out more pollutants into the real world than they did under testing conditions. Now VW has been made king of shit mountain by a few engineers from West Virginia. So why did it take over a year for this all to come to light? Well, VW had the gall to tell the EPA for over a year that the discrepancies were no more than technical glitches, and the EPA presumed that the automaker was acting in good faith. So what changed? Well, VW kept singing that tune until the smoking gun was finally found. Actual evidence of a defeat device in the affected VW diesels. Then VW had no choice but to admit that they were tricking everyone the whole time. This one isn't going to go over well with the EPA, and you can bet that VW will have a date with Congress and the Justice Department soon as well. So, how did they pull it off? Well, the EPA and other regulators actually test cars in controlled environments like dynos to replicate the results that you would find in the real world. VW's TDIs have a dyno mode that allows it to run clean while the EPA is watching, and dirty while it's running out on the streets. So just how dirty exactly? It's actually 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxides. Imagine 40 times the legal limit on alcohol. It'd be pretty bad. You'd be dead. So much for all these ads. So now that we know what they did, we can get to my favorite part, tracking the massive shitstorm that follows. For starters, the CEO of VW AG, Martin Winterkorn, resigned on September 23rd. And now VW is dismissing all the R&D chiefs of Audi and Porsche. And that makes sense since they didn't actually develop any clean diesels, they just faked them. Then the CEO of Volkswagen US, Michael Horn, he's also getting the axe for being in the epicenter of where this whole thing is unraveling. In addition, they'll be firing everyone responsible for the US emissions test riggings as blame begins to get passed around. The company itself can expect a barrage of lawsuits from the over 480,000 vehicles that have the 2.0-liter TDI engine in the US and the 11 million vehicles VW say are affected worldwide. I'd say anyone who bought one of those cars has a pretty good reason to want some of their money back. Now VW is already bracing themselves for fines from US regulators too, by setting aside over $7.3 billion in their butt clench fund. US regulators say that they'll actually need more like $18 billion, so no wonder Amazon just sold out of this. The German automaker's stock also dropped by 20% on day one, another 22% on day two, and then last, 10.5% on day three. Damn, at least investors know a train wreck when they see it. Now, German-owned BMW and Daimler AG were also affected just by association. They dropped 4.9 and 5.8% respectively. So does VW really deserve the hammering regulators and the public are giving them? In my opinion, yes. This is worse than just making a defective part that they can recall. Not only did they intentionally defraud consumers and regulators, but they also ran an entire ad campaign about it. Now, the VW scandal is the biggest story we have this week, but be sure to subscribe and send in your news tips to news@4wheelonline.com. I'm Ken, and you've just been refreshed.
How do you like my new car? Isn't diesel dirty?
Oh, say it's beautiful, for Christ's sake.
I think it's beautiful, but aren't diesels dirty?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that used to be dirty. This is 2015.
No. Listen to me, Terry. Diesel in Latin means dirty.
I'll prove it to you.
You're gonna ruin your scarf. Oh, look what she's doing.
See how clean it is?
It's not dirty, but you still have a dirty mind.